Today, I want to have this conversation because there's been a lot of talk in this space about black men and black women. But I think sometimes we don't look at what's right under our nose. We talk a lot about rebuilding the black community, but it seems that so much of the emphasis is really being placed on women and getting together with them to build families. Now, that's a laudable goal. It's something that I believe is necessary, and it's very admirable as well. But you and I both know that's going to take time because what it seems to me is that women, at least in today's time, they learn at a very slow pace. It seems as though that they fail to understand what's really happening or they are ignoring. But the bottom line is there's a lot of things happening simultaneously, and we will have to be able to address them as they appear. There's a silent killer in our community. It's right under our noses, and many of us are just glassing over it as though we have time to address it at some later date, which is something that we really do not have a lot of time, that is. Well, I'm here to tell you right now that you don't have a lot of time left. Masculinity is not under attack. If I may, masculinity is being uprooted and overturned every day as we speak. More and more within the society, females are becoming, I'm sorry, female men are becoming the woman of the future. Some of it is overt, but some of it is not so much. Now, at times in this space, we tend to joke about it here on YouTube, and at other times, we make videos trying to shed some light on the subject. Obviously, we can't always attack the issue outwardly aggressive simply because the powers that be monitors what we say, how we say it, and what's the intent of what we say, and then try to control those things. So we have to always be one step ahead in the way in which we address issues that are important to us. But not one of the causes of this outbreak in our community right now, which is right under our noses, that we identify as an issue, but I don't think we really see the multi-layered effect that this has caused. And the main cause that I'm referring to is single mother raised boys. And I know the single mother topic in general has been getting a lot of flack, but rightly so. It's not a small issue. It's a big issue, and it's a critical issue. Black women in our community, they say in a very loud voice that they would do anything for their sons and their boys, and that they're raising strong black men. But if we really take a look at society, what do we see? What result that we actually see that is being brought forth out of our community? I would like to challenge that notion. the notion that black women are raising strong black boys. Last week or earlier this week, I was on one of the network's discussions, and part of that conversation had to do with raising a strong black boy. And I didn't really get a chance to address it, but hopefully in today's conversation, I will. Many black women, they say in this space that they don't know what men want or what we as black men want from them. My question is, how can they instill in a black male child what he will need to grow up, to become strong, and to succeed and overcome the challenges that will lie ahead if they don't even know the needs of a grown black man that they may encounter or have interrelationships with? The truth is, they don't know. They will never know. The problem is, from my perspective, pride. Pride and stubbornness will prevent them from making the necessary changes to get the outcome that they say they want, not only for themselves, but for their families and for their children, both male and female, but particularly the men. Because without good, strong men of the future, well, let's just say if you don't have strong men in your life and in our society, the society will be on its last leg. And because the cry is usually that the black community is the canary in the coal mine, we know we always get hit first. So I will ask the audience this, and you can drop your responses in the chat. I'll check it out. At what age is a male's influence needed in a young boy's life? At what age is a male's influence needed in a young boy's life? Many boys need a male's influence in their lives at an early age. I'd like to see some feedback from you guys as to what age you guys believe that is, from the women particularly, but men as well. As humans, we learn, especially at a young age, by imitating. What we see, we do. Boys imitate their dads, girls imitate their mom. Therefore, if a boy does not have any male influences, and particularly strong male influences around him, what influences will he adapt? Well, the next closest thing he was what he will adapt. He was just the mind will automatically just route it to the next thing available. What are some of the things that a young man need? Many boys today, they lack the ability to do what? Solve problems. And at times, most of the times, when men solve problems, they do that how? They think alone. They're sifted through their minds until they come up with an answer because they have to evaluate all the risk involved before they pull the trigger and make a decision. That's why many times in relationships, women tend not to understand when a man gets quiet and he's not really talking, at times they believe that they may have done something or something is wrong with them. And it has nothing to do with them. It's usually that the man is trying to work through the data of information that he has to find a solution. Many of our young men and young boys today, they lack critical thinking skills. What are critical thinking skills? It's the ability to extrapolate from the information that you have to find the missing data to solve the problem. Men who lack these skills usually tend to be more violent, which comes out of frustration, which means that they have an unbridled emotion trigger or response. We see it all around us. The increase in violence in our community, every generation is getting worse and worse. But many times people are not identifying what are the root causes. They are trying to minister to the outward responses that they see. Back in the day, mothers used to know. And that's why you can easily tell today modern women from women that have a more older traditional understanding about relationships. Back in the day, mothers used to know that they were unable. Let me say that again. Back in the day, mothers used to know that they were unable to raise a male child by themselves. That they needed a male figure in the community or in the family, uncles, older brothers, godfathers, and even stepfathers that could step in and help give a balance to that young boy's upbringing. And in some cases, some mothers would go as far, particularly if they had the money, to send their sons by the time they're around 12, 13 years old to military school so they can get training on their masculinity, how to become a man, productive man. But today's black women believe falsely that they can do everything by themselves without a man, most particularly without a black man. The results of what they have and will continue to create, which is what we see in the society, will be more and more female minded men. Men who lack the display of masculine behavior, men who will display more female like behavior, men who will display more emotional reactive behavior, which when a man display emotional reactive behavior, it comes out as one thing: violence, uncontrollable violence. Many times this lacks comes from confidence, and it will demonstrate itself in life through multiple areas, but lack of success. And lack of success when men, because their innate nature, many men link their masculinity and self confidence also through their success. And men who are unsuccessful in life become frustrated and sometimes even display that in criminal like behavior to make themselves succeed one way or the other. But there's also another route this feminine mind of males can produce itself. Men who will choose the role of living life as a female. You guys see the thumbnail. Very bold, very aggressive, very out there. It sends a message. Our media sends a message. And media in itself is extremely influential in all people, young and old. But particularly, we say that male and female do not mature until the age of 25. Well, media is influencing us at the age of 1. So if you have to wait until you're 25 years old to mature to understand all the things that's been programmed into you, automatic downloads, uploads into your mind, processed, acted out. If you have to wait until you're 25 years old, you're going to be lost. You're going to be lost. So how would a young man in today's world learn how to identify themselves? If they're in a household with a mother, what can a mother do to show a young boy how to be a man? Zero. Absolutely nothing. Most women believe that they can do the job, but I say, don't go by what they say, go by what you see. And what we see in society more and more and more are men who are displaying something completely different. I mean, we have famous examples right in front of us. Dwayne Wade's son, Zaya, Kid Cudi, who is on the thumbnail today, Lil Nas X, and the list pretty much goes on and on and on.